All right, Rivalry Report episode 2. If you didn't watch the show, I'm going to say it again. You need to do that first. We're going to get a lot of points out and really explain what we were talking about on the show. We really skipped over it. So you guys will watch the podcast. We're just going to go around the table. Walker, let's go with you.
All right, bet. I'll go ahead. Initially, I took the Tar Heels as my pick to win it all. I no longer think that's going to be what's happening. I think they're going to be Final Four maximum.
I can third that.
Sweet 16, maybe round of 32 exit if things go that bad. But, I want to get into the statistics about it. You look at their big man, Henry Visar, snubbed from the honors list. I wanted to talk about that as well. Talk about that with Christian earlier. Averages 17, 9 rebounds, 2 assists on 62 from the field. I mean, those are really solid numbers. That's exactly what you're looking from a big man. Unfortunately, he is very likely to declare for the NBA draft. So if we go far this year with him, it's going to be this year and not next year since he's not staying. And that is similar to another player I want to talk about, Seth Trimble. Obviously, clutch factor like crazy. Hit, honestly, in one of my opinions, one of the greatest basketball shots in the history of the sport against Duke. Averages 14, 4 boards, 3 assists on 50 from the field. So, yeah, Seth Trimble is going to contribute to their run this year. What about you, Wesley?
I of course picked VCU as everybody knows, and that really has to do with Terrence Hill and Lazar Djokovic, the Serbian, who is 6'10", 230.
The Serbian?
He's a Serbian.
Wesley, we're putting our winners.
What
So
a
you're telling me
nickname.
VCU's my
we're talking about our winner?
Oh,
we're talking about our winner.
Oh,
No,
we're talking
UNC's his sleeper.
Oh, I
VCU's
forgot,
my
my bad.
VCU's
yeah,
my
I forgot they
sleeper.
fell off.
And they're led by the Serbian,
State
6'10",
out.
230.
It was just rage bait. I'm sorry.
So they have a lot of length in this lineup. They have a 6'11" junior. They have a 6'6" senior forward, 6'8" senior forward, a 6'7"
Oh, my God.
junior forward from England. Played high school in France. So they have a lot of experience, and they have a lot of experienced players that are tall from European countries, which I feel gives them a chance to be similar to a Charleston Cougars team from a couple years ago when they had a decent run in March Madness through the first few rounds because they were able to use that. Like, you never really see that because you don't have like guys from the States. So I think that's kind of.
I think that's a great take.
I think it's a terrible take.
Okay. Actually, yeah, I do
Alright,
agree. I'm a
sorry.
UNC fan. What am I saying? I'm gonna take for my sleeper the South Florida Bulls, USF. I think they're playing a Louisville team without their best player,
Mikael Brown.
Jr.
Yeah.
And I think that Wes Ennis is averaging about 17 a game. I think he's a great player. I think that when you face a team that doesn't have much stardom, and I don't think they can beat many good teams, especially without their best player, I definitely think that USF can easily beat them. And I guess not easily, but pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, when I look at Louisville, I see them just having 2 guards. There's not really many bigs.
Agreed.
Yeah,
That-
they're not
I
much
agree.
of a team.
That, there's not
After,
a really big presence there.
I feel like that's how it is with a lot of teams. I mean,
Just because so many injuries
Yeah.
lately.
yeah.
But like also like good teams have big presence. I don't think Louisville's very good.
No, I don't either.
Jaden, what do you think?
I would disagree with that.
So you're
I think
telling-
Louisville is a good team.
No,
I mean,
it's Mikael-
not without Mikael
That's
Brown, if
that's
that's
my
what we were
point.
saying.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were saying
That's
they were
why
good team in
if they had Mikael Brown Jr., I don't think USF would win. But
Absolutely.
yeah.
I'll
I
let
agree.
Jaden go ahead, and then I have a question to raise
You tell
to all of
them,
you.
Wesley.
So I had a 5-seed Vanderbilt. 5-seed isn't really sleeper mentality, but I feel like,
They could definitely go far.
yeah, I have them getting to the Elite 8. Another team I have going to the Elite 8 is possibly UCLA. I see them knocking off UConn, as well as
Walker, what do you want?
as well as knocking off Michigan State possibly. Michigan State I've started to come back on a little bit, but the lower team I had going far was Miami, Ohio. Good win yesterday. They look real dominant against a pretty good SMU team.
Pretty good.
I have them going to like the Sweet 16. area.
It's a little crazy.
I think they could beat Virginia.
Yeah.
What?
No, Virginia is 0-3 against top 25 teams. They are not as good as I thought.
They're
They
not
were.
as
They
good.
beat UNC.
Okay, that's UNC. That's
Wow.
different.
Yo. All right, bro.
I'm kidding.
Second in total offense,
Okay.
first in field goal percentage. Vanderbilt 13 in total offense, and Duke Miles, he is very good over there. On the show, I said he was third in assists, steals, third in steals, not assists. So I'll correct that there.
So Lennon-Borg was averaging 28
I
points
I
a game.
do.
Third and steals is really solid.
That
though.
is really solid.
Anyways, Louisville, I did have a few notes about them losing Mikael Brown. They were a sleeper in my eyes, not without him. Texas Tech is a pretty good sleeper-ish without JT Toppin. I don't think they can do anything without him. So I'm gonna stick with Miami, Ohio. Wesley, you had a question you wanted to raise?
I wanted to ask a question to all of you because in terms of seeding, we know how this tournament can be brutal for teams in terms of travel and in terms of disadvantages in those senses. So, who do you think really has geographic disadvantages? And then who also do you think struggles with talent disadvantages in this
That's
tournament?
actually a really
really
good
good
question, Wes.
I'll leave it to someone else. I was about
I
to
would-
say something
well-
about NC State, but off topic.
Dude,
Yeah.
well,
they're not
okay.
here.
Never mind. Let that go. That's a really good question, and I think for a lot of teams, it's not necessarily just about a geographical disadvantage. I think it kind of goes hand in hand with the talent question part of it.
Yeah.
Because you look at those 1 seeds and they are usually close to home, but then you look at maybe a Texas Tech team. They have to go to Michigan. That's not close at all, but Texas Tech is a very talented team. So I think when you look at a team that has a disadvantage, it has to consider both, not one
Yeah.
or the other.
Yeah.
I agree. I think with basketball, it's different because you're playing indoors. It's not like
Agreed.
football where some team from Miami's going to Buffalo playing in 3 feet of snow. So I think that like geographically,
Holy stray, dude.
no,
What
I
was that?
I didn't mean anything about Miami. I'm just saying southern teams
Yeah.
going north.
Okay.
or
I
vice
got you. I
versa.
got you. It just happened
I
to be
think
my
that
team.
I think all these teams made it to March Madness, so everyone's probably so hyped except for the 16 seed
100%.
playing the 1 seed maybe, but they're still probably excited.
Yeah.
So I think that like geographically, I don't think there's a huge impact because every team they're in like the biggest tournament of the year and they're all so excited, and you're playing indoors, so it's air conditioned. It's not anything crazy.
Yep.
So
What about
Walker?
crowd?
I would say talent struggle. It's neutral, but yeah, definitely. Like you look at Greenville, like
Yeah.
there's gonna be a bunch of UNC fans there.
That's what I meant by that.
I think when you talk about talent problem, that was like my favorite part of that question. You look at like Louisville with Mikael Brown, you look at UNC with Caleb Wilson. Like, it's interesting just that their best players are being overutilized to the point where they're getting injured, and that's just something I feel like both the NBA, because you see that all the time with load management in the NBA, and the NCAA needs to work on, just because it's not fun to have the best players not be able to play.
Agreed.
Yeah, and
comes
you
to
really
March.
see how quick a team can lose what they
Fall
built
apart,
all
yeah.
season after losing one player.
I know.
UNC with Caleb Wilson, I'm not saying they lost, everything all season, but they don't have Caleb Wilson now, and people are
Right.
talking about VCU upsetting him.
Right.
That's all it took.
Makes a big
He's out for the
difference.
season, and now VCU is going to beat North Carolina, and
He
now
is
North Carolina's
an
a sleeper.
All-American.
No, he is.
And if he was playing the whole year,
He
he's
is, but
definitely
first team.
then you start to overlook those players that Walker made comments about.
Sure.
Seth Trumbull, great shot against Duke. He
Right.
already talked about it.
Henry.
You start to look over those players that have also made an impact all year, but these big names that everybody's looking at with how great this freshman class is, you're starting to look over everything else, and you lose players like JT Toppin and then Akron. Akron's going to beat Texas Tech. Like, that's crazy to say, in my opinion. I don't know about you guys. But on that note, I kind of wanted to ask what major upsets you guys thought were going to happen.
Yeah, pull up the
Because
bracket.
you got a
I-
lot of 12 seeds beating 5
Yeah.
seeds. Everybody talks about it every
Like
year.
I said, my 11 seed beating a 6 seed is South Florida over Louisville. But going back to the Akron over Texas Tech thing, I think there's definitely a chance there. And
I really
agree.
like that
Yeah,
because of the
I agree. Yeah.
offensive output
And-
of
no.
the Zips, dude. They score like 91 points a game.
If I
like,
may, fin-
man, they
if
are.
I may, fin- if I
they
may,
are
fin- if
quick.
I may.
get it.
Anyways,
Wrap it
like
up,
I
bro.
was saying, I think that Texas Tech doesn't just have JT Toppin out there. It's one of their other really good players. who was
Yeah, they
injured,
do.
like, for
I
a
don't
long
know who
time.
it
He's
is,
like,
though.
not fully healthy. So I think Texas Tech dealing with injuries and like, I don't know, something about Akron this year. Like Wesley said with the offense, points per game, like they're a solid team. So I got Texas Tech could do that, and then my other big upset. I don't know if I have any other big upsets over.
I'm gonna take
that.
I'm gonna take Florida, or I'm gonna take
Miami
Prairie.
over
I'm gonna take
Tennessee.
Prairie View over Florida and Howard over Michigan.
Miami.
I'm playing.
Miami over Tennessee. I see.
I'm taking.
I do
that's
too.
What I was
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
say.
yeah.
I'm just
I
gonna
have Miami
say
over
this to
Tennessee.
everybody at my lunch table. Yesterday,
watching this.
they
Shout
were
out the lunch
they
table.
were dissing me on the fact that I said Prairie View was going to beat
Okay,
Lehigh
I
in
was
the
kidding,
16
bro.
seed game,
They
and
actually
we did
were
it. Go
on
Panthers!
fire.
Who is
Who
we?
is we? You are
Hey,
not a Prairie
Shout
View
out
fan.
Walker Roberts giving me this
I
I
just
Desumu
card.
basketball
kidding.
card.
Sir.
Shout out I Desumu, 29 points last night.
You know what we didn't
Hofstra
do?
is good.
We didn't go. I actually like that pick.
Yeah, we're all
We didn't go back through and talk about winners.
Yeah, it was one. Yeah,
Go ahead.
it was
You
cool to
start.
start
You
off
start. You
different
start.
though. I
You
messed
start.
with that, Jay.
I'll talk with Michigan. I've talked about it a lot. I got a bunch of points out on the show, so I'm not gonna
We know.
restate what I said. But they finished first in the Big Ten regular season. Lost to Purdue. Purdue was actually absolutely on fire. I don't know what was going on with them. Morez Johnson, 62.8% from the field, averaging 13-1 a game. And let's get into a little bit of the history of it. Since 2002, the championship, the winners have been top 40 in offense and top 22 in defense, and Michigan is. And actually, every one seed this year is in that. I do want to say Duke's not winning the championship. I don't know if we have
Agreed.
any thoughts on that. I'll get back to it. Virginia is actually also one of those teams, top 40 in offense.
Yeah, isn't Vandy too?
Vanderbilt is, I think. And also, since
Illinois is. Shout out
1997, if you cut the U.S. in half, everybody on the East Coast has won. The last West Coast team to win was in 1997, and it was the Arizona Wildcats.
Wait, so you're saying since what year?
1997.
Oh my God.
That is crazy.
That is,
That's a cool stat.
and you can fact check it.
Shout out
I mean,
East Coast.
You can look at it. East Coast has been
Ballin'.
electric since then, and Michigan is on that east side. So
Yeah,
For
they're
my
on the
winner-
east side.
For my winner, I'm going to continue going, or actually, I'm going to flip it from UNC to Arizona. They're consistent night in, night out. I've said
so healthy.
I've made my points.
So healthy.
They are. Koa Pete, like old school forward, bro. I love watching Koa Pete play.
He's really good.
Braden Burry's averaging, what's Braden Burry's averaging? 2.5 assists, 16 points, 5 rebounds,
Wow.
50% from the field. Arizona's deep, and like you were mentioning, I have Duke going to the final in my bracket. I don't have Duke making it out of the final, and
That's
I'll
really
leave it at
nice
that.
of you to.
I have St. John's knocking off Duke. St. John's is just such an iffy team.
That's doable.
I thank you. Florida's probably the most physical team, I would say.
Duke is injured.
Arizona is definitely the healthiest team. Cam Boozer is overrated. I will say that until they prove anything different. TCU, I think.
What?
Sorry, I was gonna make a
For the
point.
championship?
No.
Dog,
I was gonna
why
make
don't
it.
we get to
Never
Wesley?
mind.
Facts.
Yeah, we'll let Wesley handle TCU.
Wesley, I know
He's
you
always
got,
on
you
it.
got that Iowa State boy.
I do have Iowa State. I just want to say something about this defense. TJ Altelberger is one of the best defensive coaches in this tournament, and he's led by a guy named Tamin Lipsey, who is named all defensive team for the Big 12. Great player on the perimeter, and so their ability to seriously force bad passes is what I'm looking at. And having a strong defensive identity, being fourth in KenPom defensively, is very, very strong.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like defense is so overlooked when it comes to great championship basketball teams, because we think of the high-scoring teams
I don't know if I necessarily
that win a lot of
Yeah,
games. Iowa State has great three-point shooting to go along with defensive teams. A lot of great defensive teams, don't get me wrong, are efficient on offense, but they're not as
They're known for their
oftentimes-
defense.
Yeah.
They're not oftentimes efficient from three,
Right.
which Iowa
I have a
State
question
this
for
year
you.
is.
Do you usually a team will run like man out of a
Mm-hmm.
miss and then off of a make? Do you know what they run off of a make? I don't know.
I
Like
believe
1,
that
2,
they
2, 2,
I
3?
believe
Or is it just man the whole way?
I think that they run. I think they'll switch up a lot. They'll go into zone.
Okay, yeah.
They'll go into zone. Usually 2-3
Okay, that's wrong.
down the court.
I mess with that.
Thank you, Coach.
I'll just get mine in real quick. I've said it on the show, said it 50 times. I'm getting a little more worried about it every day.
Illinois fighting Illinois.
Yeah, Illinois fighting the Illini.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Illinois fighting the Illini.
Such great size.
Said it many times. I think Keaton Wagler. Yo, am I gonna be able to talk? Just
Yeah,
wondering.
you got it, bro.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Like
right.
I was
Christian, we're
saying,
just waiting on you, bud.
Yeah, we are.
this has just turned into a hate party. Keaton Wagler. I think he's one of the best freshmen best freshman point guards in a stacked freshman class.
100%.
I mean, he's amazing. It's just I love him. And
Yeah.
then I think that they've got
We see
height to
that?
this. Yeah, well, I can't get a point out without being made fun of.
Well,
Okay.
no, it's okay. Just keep going.
Finish, bro.
Push through it,
NC
push through it.
State. I think they've got height. They've got a 7'2" center, 7'1" power forward, like I've said about 50 times now. They have huge height advantage. I think their forwards are great. They've got a ton of foreign guys. David Mirkovic, I don't know if you know who that is. He's really good in my opinion. And yeah, Keaton Wagler averaging about 18 a game. I think he's a great point guard, a great leader, freshman class.
Who do you have beating or who do you have them playing in the final in your bracket
in the Final Four?
or in the championship?
In the
game?
championship.
Championship game? I would have to look at my phone. Is that
Okay,
with you guys?
that's fine.
Yep.
I'm just curious because.
What is everybody's Final Four?
Well, in my main bracket,
My
Yeah.
Final Four: St. John's, St.
Agreed.
John's, Houston, Iowa State, and Arkansas.
y'all think St. John's is that good?
Hold on. He just said Arkansas in the
That's
Final Four.
Darius
It's not a
Acuff?
terrible
Darius
take.
Acuff
50
is
I-
so
Yeah,
good in
that,
college.
that is not
I think that's a
terrible
terrible take for Final Four.
He's
I
so
think
good.
elite. I think
that
elite eight is the
Wisconsin or
farthest they
Arkansas,
go.
whoever wins that game, can go really far.
I think Sweet,
Okay,
Sweet
agreed.
16.
Okay, so
went?
it's just not working. I think that my Final Four would be, realistically, I think I'm going to take.
No Duke.
You want me to do
No
no
Duke. No Duke.
You gotta get Duke
UConn, Illinois, or Florida. Florida could beat Illinois.
Wait,
I think.
UConn and Illinois?
They're in
They're
different.
in the same bracket.
No, they're not. Look it up, Big Dog.
Okay. No,
I think
UConn
the
is
sleeper-
in-
you
I
might.
think
No,
the
no, no. You might be
sleeper- I
right.
think the
UConn,
sleeper team
Illinois.
in that side of the bracket though is UCLA, and I completely
right.
I completely
You're totally
agree
right.
with you,
Michigan.
Jaden, when you said
totally
UCLA earlier on in the show.
Thank you, Wes.
I
UCLA
I
is such
applaud
a
you for
sleeper
that.
on that.
Right. Oh, no, I know. I think UCLA's really
Yo,
good.
I'm about to have to head out. I wanted to say something before I go.
Go.
I watched a TikTok today. I
TikTok
don't know if
for
y'all
we're getting
saw
our
it.
info.
I don't know if y'all saw it. This dude bet 16 grand that he won off the Super Bowl on UCLA, and his payout is 1.8 million if UCLA wins it.
The championship?
That's not a smart bet in my
Nah,
opinion.
that's
the dumbest
I mean,
thing I've ever seen in my life.
$16,000. Big
Not a
dog.
smart pick.
Appreciate
I'll glaze UCLA, but
You won't
not-
put 16
not-
grand.
I guess
on
he's
it.
technically
I just
not
want to
losing
say
any money,
this
though.
right now.
True.
Shout out to all my homies in Greenville. Go Paladins. We're rooting for y'all.
No, we're not.
You
16
will
As,
Team.
be-
as the state of
Alrighty.
South Carolina, we were rooting for them, but
That's Furman,
we
right?
can wrap it
Furman
up.
Valley.
Yeah.
Furman. Go
my,
Dens.
my Final Four, I'll get it out for this. I made a bunch of brackets, but
We know.
I made one specifically for this class with Michigan winning it. I had St. John's, Illinois, Arizona, and Michigan. And then I had Michigan, Illinois in the national championship.
So you have, wow, Illinois beating UNC.
The more
I
I've looked
do,
at it,
yeah.
I know I say Illinois for this class, and I've tried to stick with it, but I'm a little worried that like Vanderbilt, Florida.
It's just the
I'm a
other
little
six
worried about
solid
Michigan,
teams.
too.
I think
Yaxel
Vanderbilt or
Lenborg.
Florida could beat.
I'm not worried about Michigan, bro. Michigan's Final Four lock for me.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
And all my
Yaks.
backs have been in there.
Yaxel
Alright,
Lenborg is just so automatic from the three-point line.
wins.
So.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
It is your bad.
Yo, Walker.
All right. Well,
I'm gonna start
thanks for
back.
tuning in.
Thanks, guys.
Hopefully you checked out the show. If not, it is on YouTube. It'll be on Instagram. Go check it out
True.
at ECSN _Rivalry Report. Go check it out. This will be on here. We also have an audio version. We'll try and get it on Spotify at some point.
SoundCloud rappers.
Yeah,
Anything
we're
else
here.
you want to add?
No, thank you for watching.
Let's go, bro. March Madness.
Let's go, baby.
There you go. First day.
March Madness.
Onions.
They were tied when I checked.
I thought Wesley was about to hit some Jenkins.